Hello and welcome to the Marty and Tavi show. We are live. First of all, I'm sure that there's a lot of people watching the Super Bowl right now, and we're doing a show, but that's okay. You guys can watch us later. Tonight's subject is pre-panny. All right, and I guess you're probably wondering what panny is. That's just shortened for pandemic, something we've been in. Obviously, we couldn't say post panny because we're not out of the pandemic yet. But I'm going to turn it over to Marty, and Marty can finish talking about pre-panny, and we'll have a very healthy conversation about pre-panny and the teacher shortage in the schools.
Um, Good evening, listening audience. Um, in listening to all of these wonderful excuses that teachers are coming up with as to why they are leaving our children shortchanged, I began to focus on teachers before the pandemic and before they infiltrated our schools.
Mhm.
And we are accustomed to not having resources, not
Mhm.
having the latest resources, not having parental involvement, but we weren't afraid to build relationships. So we knew why our
Mhm.
parents were, as they say, missing in action. And with this elevated course on, um, the teacher shortage and the long list of why they're leaving the schools, we
Mhm.
got to become honest with the fact that before the pandemic,
Mhm.
we dealt with the same things. You know what I'm
So
saying?
you saying
But
what we're seeing now is not anything different?
no, it's really nothing new. What's new is who's teaching our children. That's what's new. Um, when the great infiltration came, coupled
Mhm.
with the Teach for America, then that's when the issues came. Cause I
You tell
mean,
me a little bit about that. I'm totally dumb to that. What happened?
um, well, when Teach for America came, they came in with the mentality of privileged children.
Mhm.
Where they went to schools where they had everything,
Mhm.
the latest this and the latest that. So to come to areas where it's lacking and have this expectations, uh who are they fooling? Because they're not fooling us, you
Mhm.
know. So when they're speaking on, the issues, of course they're legitimate issues, don't get me wrong. They, and they are right at it, and yet we still produce scholars because we're the same men and women who are products of this country who was legislated lack and low to no resources and still
Mhm.
produce greatness. So
Mhm.
we got to question why are we seeing and hearing something totally different today from our young people. And pre-Panny, we got to look at what we did. You know what I'm saying? So I call that a lot of shenanigans, what they're saying. They just taken care of now. America has taken care of these teachers. They can leave and go into their original professions off of
Mhm.
our children's back,
So,
and
so
as
you're so. Let me make sure I'm understanding right. So you're saying the teachers are leaving because they have other, I guess, skills or whatever that they can utilize. So they just basically become teachers to have the loans forgiven, and then they're done with it, and then they're off to
yes,
something else.
yes,
That sounds like some pun stuff.
if it, the king and queens of it, they are queens and kings of it. If you can get in there and do 2 or 3 years and all of a sudden you're gone, kids started warming up to you, because I'm a sub, so I sit in the class uh, of these teachers a lot, you know,
Oh, no.
and huh,
I said that. Yeah, that makes sense. And then you'll see the kids' reaction because the teachers are gone. You just brought something back to me.
Exactly.
Yeah, I remember sitting and it was a
Yeah.
Spanish teacher
So
had left. Yeah, I'm
yeah.
listening. Go ahead.
So they get upset, and rightfully so. You not only are you insulting my attention, insulting my intelligence, you're wasting my time. I'm getting up every day to see subs, and my students used to be upset, and I would tell them go to the board and get teachers. But they say they need diversity. They need diversity to come to the hood, but the kids who really want education can't go out into better schools. Make it make sense.
So the
So
diversity is diversity in teachers or diversity in students? What do you
the
mean by
diversity,
they?
obviously teachers, because they can come to the hood in large numbers, but they ain't leaving the hood to go out into the better schools in large numbers, right? So
Right,
if you want to talk about
unless they were already there, then they would be
whatever, if you want to talk about diversity, and if you say children first, you got all these wonderful slogans. Why are we still content with our kids being trapped by legislation in these failing schools?
Do you think that if people knew better, they would do better? Because I don't know if everybody know how to really properly fight against it. That's what I find a lot of times. People always don't understand the process of things, so they feel powerless to it. I mean,
Well,
everybody know.
I might I might fall under that category because I came home. They said go back to your community and make it better. What the fuck did I do? I came back home, not knowing that everybody know what's going on. Who thinks that? Who thinks when I will have one-on-ones with ministers, they know what's going on? Who think that?
Right.
People that don't get no damn about our kids in the community, period. So, you know, it is what it is now.
So basically, you're just saying people were commuting to the inner cities. Can you answer that?
For a check.
For a check.
Basic. I mean, because look at him now. He signed them loans. I mean, wavered them because mind you now, they getting theirs taken care of a whole lot more than we are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so because we like, hey Joe, where we at?
So they commute to communities that they don't live in, make salaries, get loans forgiven, and it basically fuels the communities that they actually live in. So what communities you think they're living in? Communities that look like them?
Right, yeah. They ain't around the corner from us.
Just coming to make the money in. Okay.
Most definitely. Yeah. I mean, it's evident.
I didn't have, and I don't know if my eye is seeing something different because we have had the influence of East St. Louis, because going down south, I kind of start seeing things a little different because it's kind of, I don't know, not everybody get to be raised in Chocolate City like East St. Louis. And so we've gotten experience that, Black teachers, Black students, and we've gotten that experience. That's what it was like as we were growing up. And then it started changing, obviously, because, it's not that way anymore. But when I did experience white teachers, it was when I integrated into a predominantly white community that had their teachers, and we were integrating into them. And I can't say that I remember one of them, other than the sixth grade teacher that was in my elementary school, Miss Geiger. I remember her, and she had a heart for us, But outside of Miss Geiger and going into the Cahokia schools, I remember not one teacher that was memorable or that seemed to care. It was just more of just being in the school and trying to get through the process.
Right.
I seen my honor status coming from East St. Louis basically get challenged. Like they don't want me in the class. I became a minority where I was in a majority, and things just went downhill from there. So I can kind of understand what you're saying, because obviously they didn't have a choice but to let us in the district, and obviously the Cahokia district is a little different now. I mean, it's
Right.
predominant, and I don't know what teachers are left in the Cahokia district. To be honest, the teachers might still be there as well. Because they get a check. And they got to retire, I guess, if they don't have anywhere else to go. I don't know. But if that's what they're doing, that's a shame. That's a shame that they have, and they know the process. So if they are doing it, why don't black teachers do the same thing? Why don't black people come from other professions to come in there and teach? Do you think everybody always tell me the white teachers are there because there's a black teacher shortage? Is that true?
If they not producing scholars, I guess so. It will be a black shortage in every profession. Look who's teaching them to make sure it stays white only. They're not fostering our kids to be researchers, thinkers, writers. None of that. Mm-hmm. So it's by design there in the school. That's why kids aren't readers, lovers of books, like we had them. So yeah, it's true.
Wow. So, all right. So then, if we are in pre-panny right now, and eventually, I guess we're moving to post-pandemic, what's going to be the solution to what didn't have a solution as? Do you see anything that they can implement that can encourage those black teachers that are needed to be in the classroom, or do you think it's a block?
We don't need them. We don't need them. We don't need them in the classroom. Put black teachers in there. Quit all the little nonsense about these damn certifications, because that means absolutely nothing.
So you want to do away with certification?
What? Hell, what have they done with it?
Well, it is a harder process, and not everybody.
Let's be honest with that. What? And these are highly certified teachers, right? I mean, that's what you said.
Yeah,
I guess their income says they're highly qualified.
They have specialties and all of that,
and can't do nothing with our kids. So it's null and void. And after the whole APA lying and stuff with social workers and psychiatrists and sociologists, all them, it's a bunch of lies. Period. We can't raise our kids to be decent, and then you say go get certified. Come on now. America's just wasting our time, and we've allowed it for so long. It's like natural. No, ma'am. Do away with certification and put our kids in rooms where black men and women are.
Right.
Because it seems like certification's not stopping, sexual predators and all that other nonsense that's going on. License, like none of that is certification, license, none of them is doing anything. Let black folks handle black children the way we know we can.
I wish, and everybody criticized Betty DeVos for her approach on pulling some money from public schools to allow public schools to create. But everybody was saying, oh, it's just going to the white public schools. But it just seems like some money could be allocated to be able to create these spaces, these private school spaces where people could get around certification. Because basically, when you have private school, they don't have to have all those certifications, right?
No. And charter don't either. What you doing?
My daughter is calling my cell phone. My husband walked out of her. He answered the phone, so I assume that he know exactly what she want. I text her and told her I'm doing my show. So that's what I'm doing. Okay. And I wonder when I think so. And so yeah. I'm sorry. Girl, I can't get left alone on a Sunday night. Anyway, I don't know. I'm all about solutions. Like, I mean, I can pinpoint and blame them teachers, but maybe that won't be the best thing to remedy everything.
It is.
I'm the
It
first
is.
thing that I'm looking at is how do we recruit? How do we recruit? Hold on. How do we recruit those black teachers that are needed to be in them classrooms instead? Or will they not? I mean, I'm just trying to.
Well, I mean, if you look at it now, this is a generation that walked through metal detectors, felt dehumanized, being frisked on a daily basis, knowing they have nothing. You know what I'm saying? You done degraded me. Their understanding of education is like a prison. So
Right.
te- convince them to go into education.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously? They can actually see their governor basically invest more money into prisons than educated. These kids aren't developmentally slow. They get those things. So if I'm going to pick a field based off of, you know, my pre-K through 8th grade experience, I wouldn't want to teach either. You done treated me like a convict. Every day of my life, I'm walking through metal detectors. I got these wands violating my body every day. What what would teaching look like to them? Only what they familiar with. No teacher or subs on a rotating basis. So it'll be really, really difficult to convince someone to go into education, especially black teachers. And then the kids in predominantly white areas, they feel ostracized. I ain't even do nothing, but you coming after me. And so how you get them? And that's all they know is Lily White. So, we got to reprogram them and reteach them. Now, that should be the question. How do we do that?
Okay, but yet and still, we gotta first agree on what approach, because in education, there's always a certain approach that they have to adopt before it's implemented. And
Right.
so, if that being the case, then how do we get a model that will actually work to expose and empower what needs to happen when it comes to these kids and them wanting to become teachers? Like, I know at the place that I work, there is a teachers program for the students right now. And so I think that's powerful. And I actually think they're connected to the teachers college that's here. And I can't say what race of students they are, but there is an effort to keep the students becoming teachers. Is what I'm saying. So all the ideologies I think that we could probably think of that's needed is probably in place somewhere. But getting it to the people who need it, I think, is the bigger issue.
Okay.
Is how to having a direct target of people. I've asked students, what's their exposure to HBCUs, and there is none. So when it's all said and done, it's all about exposure. The right exposure, the needed
True.
exposure. What does it look like? You know, um,
Okay.
no, I'm done. I'm just kind of thinking. You got my head spinning because I want to see these kids succeed. I want to see education become what it was intended to be. At least, I guess it was 10. I mean, I guess it wasn't really intended for us as black people because it was
It
started off
wasn't.
common schools, but as Americans we have a right to that education. So if we have that right to that education, then I would just assume or just would want that if we have that right, just let us have that right. Let us do it right. you know
Right.
and so who really controls education is a question that I searched for about maybe 12, 13 years ago, and I was shocked. And I was at the regional office building, and I was talking. I was just like, and I was giving all these ideas. Well, why don't y'all do this? And why don't y'all do that? And the woman had to stop me and say, we don't make no decisions from here. So I was like, well, who do?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's legislation. They get directives. They don't be really having them intertwined with all the what we think in education. I guess they be sitting at a whole nother table. But when it's all said
Right.
and done, after I get through chopping it up and pulling it apart, guess what I found? Politicians, because they
Oh,
legislate. And then they think about the money that they're allocating and who's gone, and
yep.
that's one of the biggest problems is our education system is politicized.
Yep.
And I think that politicized is um nobody really stands up when it comes to impoverished districts, because it's just an expected and implied thing that they're going to fail, and then there's money that they can get for them failing. It's just so, it's so
Yep.
systemic, and
And
it's
that's why
it's sad.
uh our early childhood program, it used to be what is it? At risk, the
Hmm.
at risk program. And so I question, these babies are just freaking 3 years old. Why at risk? And they was like, oh, you can get
Okay, look like Marty
just
froze
coming
up.
from home.
Marty,
Tabby,
I'm here. I'm sorry. All I
huh?
heard was just coming from home. That's it. You been froze a little bit. Hello, Marty. Okay. Let's see if she's gonna come back in. There she is. Maybe.
Yeah, right, because you're frozen.
I'm froze now.
Yep, on my end.
I see me moving. You see my head?
Nope. Let me see.
You froze.
I'm frozen.
Not really. You talking. Go ahead and talk.
Okay, so what was it saying?
We was talking about the exposure and the control of the school and the education. And you were sharing a thought on that, understanding that it is politicized.
Oh yeah, that's why I say education malpractice and curriculum discrimination. I say that a lot because all of those things are legislated, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And when you start thinking about, I'm getting ready to get a shirt made, and it's talking about taxes, and you work and pay taxes on that, and but the tinker is,
You work, you pay taxes on that. The ticker is, and Marty's froze. I'm not sure where she's at and what she's doing, but we had a great show last week where she wasn't freezing up. So we'll see if she goes out and come back in. Until she does, all right, I'll just let that spin a while. Hopefully, it'll catch up and she'll come back in. But just going back to the subject tonight, pre-panning, and just thinking about the pandemic as a whole. She wanted to focus on the teacher shortage. I think we talked enough as it relates to the teacher shortage. And so I don't know. Let me see if she's coming back. Hold on before I start talking. Um, okay, here she comes. Hopefully it's better. Hi.
Hi,
All
I'm
right.
back.
Okay. So you remember where you left off at or not? I
Not.
was trying. I was trying to hold your place, and then the thing just started spinning. I'm like, oh.
Uh,
Anyway. Anyway.
I was discussing like um me constantly using education malpractice and curriculum discrimination and how basically those things are legislated. And
Mm-hmm.
when you start looking at all of the public taxpayer funded wealth that these congressional men and women make because of us. I was telling you about a shirt that I'm getting made. I sent it to you about taxes, and it made me really think. Like, wow, really? Kind of like that meme that I use every Sunday. Churches bring in millions and deposit them in the very banks that deny us access to our own money. Let's let some stuff sink in. And when you start thinking about pre-pandemic and the education of our children, I mean, we have been overdue in pulling our kids out and basically educating them or starting our own school. And
I want no, and see that's what I'm saying. I want them dollars to follow. We part of this government, and it's money allocated. I don't mind us pulling them out, but bring that money back with them. Like we can't just be pulling them out and no money though. They're allocated money. Like it just don't make sense. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I lost her. Hopefully she comes back, but they know we don't have resources. They know we don't have resources. They know we can do everything we want to do if we
right,
had those resources that they do it for us with, that they service. And that's what I'll be saying. No, give us that money for the kid as well so we can do what we know we can do. you
exactly.
know, and they don't want our money coming to us. And I found that out the hard way,
Uh-huh.
because the money that's allocated to make us better actually keeps them good. because they
Exactly.
because they create a service of something that they say reduces the situation, improves the situation, but don't heal it, don't fix it, don't do anything. Because if they did, then that money wouldn't keep coming in.
Exactly. Exactly. I think I wrote a post on that talking about, let's say, hunger. If they really eradicated hunger, they would get no money.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes with homelessness, it
Well,
goes with
well,
education, it goes with all of that.
well, somebody said something even stronger than that. Poverty is $1 billion business.
Yes,
Think about that.
ma'am.
But where
Yes,
them
ma'am.
$1 billion going at though? That's the thing.
To
Because
in white
all
coffers.
type of money coming to, like, just take East St. Louis for instance. You got every nonprofit you can think of located in East St. Louis. Matter of fact, I was on a call today and somebody from Atlanta want to bring a nonprofit here and have it, in East St. Louis. And I'm thinking like bring some development, bring some jobs. Like the last thing we really need is social welfare, but I'm cool with it because it's a person with a good heart and I know that's just what they do.
Right.
But where the developers at? Where all these prominent East St. Louis's and all of that at that can actually really enrich the community and bring it back up
They
is
don't
what
want to.
I
They
think
don't
they
want to.
do. They need a trusted source to link on to. I mean, obviously they're living their lives and I'm not mad at them. At the same time, every time you see the majority of stuff you see in the public eye of East St. Louis is always something negative. It's always negative. And
Yep.
so that ain't helping them from looking from Hawaii somewhere or whatever and saying, oh damn, I miss home. Man, I can just, they're they don't think like that because they figure they're gonna put their money in a black hole.
Right.
And so all that to say, going back to education, we know education is important. We know, but if they're not getting a proper one, they're just going into school buildings and just connecting to the school to prison pipeline, and that ain't helping either.
At all, ma'am. At
And
all.
so, all I'm saying, like I said before, that quote, it is what it is, and they won't leave us alone. What do we do with the Negro? Leave them alone.
Alone. We don't need you. Never
But they
have.
will have all that money to themselves, and we won't have these $100,000 jobs to support us in building our brand new homes in our brand new lily white neighborhoods. Let's be honest. So
Lily Black neighborhoods. Thank you, ma'am.
both. But overall, where do we start? It's so much to tackle. And that's why I know that the only change do come through legislation. And I feel like we need to really be attentively working on legislation that
Right.
will help remedy what you already said existed already before the pandemic, which more than likely is worse now. And
Exactly.
it is. It's got to be worse now because they need subs like crazy. And
Yep.
so with that being said, is worse now. Then how do we help the public schools relieve them? Because I feel like they need some relief. If they're short on students, then pull some of that money. I mean, short on teachers, pull some of that money and let some private people be able to create school spaces that these
Right.
kids can learn in. It's because but then again, you do too well, they ain't gonna get their
Yep.
funding back. It's all about money. That's why that's why that quote, poverty is $1 billion business, is so real to me, because it really is. Like, I spent almost a year of my life tracking a grant just to see where the money was really going and try to get the money to redirect to where it needs to go. Nope.
Right.
That money, before it was even released, it was already had the entities that it was going to be released to, and how it was going to divvy out, and had nothing to do with what the money was really allocated for, as far as improving the conditions of life in the city, as far as gun violence, reduction. Because again, all they got to do is show we reduce something, and we put on a play, and we said, and we
Lie
call
and lie.
we lit a candle, and and nothing against anybody that's lost their lives or anything like that. That's not the intent on that, but just the ridiculousness of the money that's being allocated to stop this, that I really believe could really help stop a lot of it if it only got in the hands of the right people.
Well, I mean, if it got into the hands of the right people, they would not reap. So they'll never let people who are genuinely trying to eradicate these things to ever get in those positions, because I mean, it's too lucrative.
Mm-hmm.
They profit off of our pain, our murder. They profit off of all these ill things, and it's sad that these people are like this. It's craziness, man.
So as we collaborate women, should that be the goal of trying to create a school, or should it be the goal of trying to create legislation to pull money from schools? I don't know. Again, I brought up Betsy, and you kind of went frozen or whatever on me when I brought up earlier, but everybody was denouncing what she was saying. Now, if she was trying to move money and just give it to white schools, it was one thing, but I did feel her when she was saying she wanted to get some of that money allocated to private schools, since there was a need to have smaller settings, and the public schools just didn't fit that description at the time. And I thought that would be good.
But when she was not talking about inner city families. First of all, her thinking is we can't.
that was internal talk, but nobody's been able to really prove to me that she really didn't include that too. Because I talked to a national NAACP leader, and he went blank on me when I kept asking him to show me, how do I find this? How do you know that? And he was just, they're so used to telling us stuff and and we just take it and we roll with it. Nobody really says, well, show it to me. And I looked and I
I thought
researched
I
it.
did share it with you.
You didn't share with me that it's going to be going to white schools.
Okay,
That's,
and when she was in office, what was she saying? What did she call our area?
I don't remember. What did she
Okay,
call her?
I'm gonna look it up and resend it to you. She said everybody except whatever at the time she kept saying was code language for poor black areas.
Like Title 3
Every,
schools or something like that?
no, I forget the a little group name that she gave the inner city. Um, what did they say? They said something. Um, of course they didn't say inner city or impoverished area. They had a little name during that time of 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 our area per se. And
I'm
she
trying to
said,
remember. I know that now. I can't remember. I know what you, but I could have sworn it was just Title 3 schools then. I don't
no,
know.
let me see. I'm trying to look it up.
I'm looking at why you talking busy, divorce, private school.
Funding or something.
Uh-huh.
Wasn't it like 6,000 or 10,000?
There's more than that. I don't know. It's so much on her. Let me stop. But oh, announces now that's in 2019. See, she already had this plan moving in 2019, and that pandemic just helped her push it because October 10, 2019, I got an article that says the Voss announces plans to encourage more charter school in opportunity. So she was working on that before the actual pandemic actually happened. And again, I'm all for tweaking ideals. The idea of
Uh-huh.
pulling money from the public school and putting it into private schools is great to me. Who they mean by private schools, they would have to tell me, and then I would have to help them include what's needed as well. And that's what I'm talking about is for us making sure we get on the bandwagon of that legislation when it's being introduced instead of always just turn it down. Oh, okay. Because I was excited about it saying, okay, well, as I was in Savannah, Georgia at the time, and that was exactly what was needed because people knew that the kids needed more in-person learning than remote. So community members got together, got with the churches, pulled retirees and all of that, and created these spaces to make sure that even though the kids had their lesson, the remote whatever, they still created a school environment for them, but a smaller environment. And I'm just like, wow, what if we had money that can really help duplicate this? And this is great because it was great. The kids were fine, and they were safe because it was in smaller settings. And I was thinking, like, okay, well, if she's gonna move money, then these are the exact settings that she should be giving the money to continue with. But maybe that was just too good to be true. I just wasn't knocking that plan just because she said it, is what I'm saying, because that's what I saw a lot of people doing. And like I said, I challenged the one guy I spoke with on a meeting in front of all those people. He still couldn't like take me to something that said that she was not, if this was become legislation, that it was going to exclude black people. And that's what he was just running around with, saying that, oh, it's going to school black people because they know black people respond, and we're going to go with it, and we're going to say, okay, no, we know, no, she's going to move it to private white schools. But I know it's private black schools too. You froze up on me again because it looked like it. You look real froze. Yep, you froze. Marty, are you unfroze now? I see her face. Marty. All right. I don't know where her signal is. It's probably won't be as good of a show as we had last week. We didn't have any technical difficulties. Um. Oh wait. I think she's coming on. I think I seen her face move. Hello.
Okay.
Oh, I
You
see
see
some
me
lips.
now?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So, what do you think about everything I just said? Because I know I was talking.
Uh,
Did you hear it?
you, I mean, you all right.
Ah,
I say
I'm
you
all
all
right.
right.
Meaning no comment.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying. I mean, what's the possibility of moving the funds to private people that want to teach the kids? Do you think it's possible? And there she go,
Uh,
froze. Oh, she ain't froze. She's just looking at me.
yes, it's possible, but it's just like when comes to certain zip codes, it's just like paying somebody to babysit their own kids. We're in the wrong
Mm.
income bracket for that because that's clearly what Betsy DeVos was doing for the elite private schools. She was giving them funding. So when it comes to our area, no, ma'am, they don't give us funding and our kids go to school. Imagine us taking them out to really educate our kids. I mean, it makes sense for the funding to go with them, but it won't.
Well, I don't know. I mean, everybody, nothing beats a failure but a try.
How long
And
black folks been trying in this country? We tried
you,
out.
you know what? As long as we have breath and we keep breathing, we're gonna have to keep trying until it happens. I mean, unless we just don't participate no more and separate. But as long as we're not separating and we're not in our own country and got our own governance, then we have to keep trying because we're participating in this government. Whether we like it or not, this is what governs over us.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
mean, unlike other ethnicities that do have some rights around this that don't have to keep trying, like you saying, trying because they already got these special protections and permissions around them already. But us as black people in America, we supposed to have the same rights as the white people in America, and they have the same governance over us as they have over themselves. And so therefore, if we're going to participate in their system, we have to keep trying to make sure it's right, unless we just go complacent like a lot of the people and just say, oh, it ain't going to ever happen. I'm good. I'm just going to keep on going along to get along. I mean, that sounds like what you just said.
Yeah, because you get tired. I mean, we got to work too hard to prove that we are worthy or we should
I
have
don't
this
see
and have
no
that.
we working though. It's always a couple people in the corner somewhere doing their own thing, another couple. And this is somebody that disconnected her life to really see it. I really disconnected everything that I knew about life to see what I didn't know about life. And everybody that I ran into that I talked to attentively, they're all in the corner doing their own thing. Nobody's aligned. And I'm just like, well, if you align all this power, then you might see what it is you're trying to see because it's all here, but y'all not aligned, y'all not connected. Is what the bigger need is because it's some passionate people that everybody got a role. And if we put them all together, like I said, you got your skill in things. I got my skill in things. You don't think we can help influence some legislation for real? You don't think we can pull together and actually create our own school? I believe we can. It's gonna take work. It ain't gonna just we snap a finger and it's gonna be there. But I also think we can get some of that government money that's allocated to educate these kids in the public school if we keep on rallying our legislator and give them that idea. We don't talk to our legislators enough to even get them ideas of what we need. So we talk to each other, and that's why I don't go further than us. Uh-oh, she went to sleep on me.
Girl, I see you. I'm listening to you.
I, I see your neck, but I'm
But I mean, you you got some legitimate points, but like I said, I mean, I get every generation gets us closer and closer. Damn, 400 years ain't a long time. I mean, it wears you out. It's getting tiring. Because first of all, we already know it's unnecessary, and it's like we content with just asking. Like we weren't born here. It's like we the worst, to be honest. You know, but
Yeah, yeah. Um,
we are the
yes,
problem.
I think our disunity is the biggest problem, though.
Yeah, true.
And I hear people all the time saying it's us, and then I hear them saying that it's not us, and it's. I don't care. I really don't care about pointing fingers no more. I more care about how do we get to where we're trying to go. Where's the prize? What's the plan to get to the prize? Is kind of where I stay focused. Because if I focus on anything else, I'll just be
Right,
spinning. And so, just with that concept and with that focus, what is the prize? The prize is to get the kids quality education like you and I was able to get. Is
right.
that the goal?
Not for
Right?
me. Not for me.
So what do you see as a goal if you
I
were
mean,
to
because
fix the issue? That's what I'm saying.
in today's society, our babies are not where we were because of the simple fact they have access to so much information a click away. So,
Mm-hmm.
what's wrong with just allowing them to be? Because I don't know. It's like it's really no need for schooling. The brick and mortar, because the baby, they have access to everything. And they're
But they don't
learning on
know
their
how to
own.
access it. You talking about the internet when you say they have access to everything? You talking about the internet?
Yes.
They don't know how to use that internet outside of social media.
Oh, and it seemed like the way they are championing and doing their own thing, that's all they need. We stuck in the antiquated day. Some of us, let me change that. Some of us are.
I mean, I definitely know that the education system, the way they're teaching it, is antiquated, and they should not be teaching the kids the same way they taught us. I do know that part,
Right.
but at the same time, social media is not. I mean, like a lot of them don't know how to email, even though they had to have an email to get to social media. It's a whole lot of computer concepts and different things that they don't have. So they need to be taught. I mean, if anything, we probably need to push more of the computer concepts and understanding what else they,
So why is it? Oh, it goes back to the curriculum discrimination, because just about anything our children do that deviates away from what they put in front of them is worthy to be criminalized. Because they experimenting with hacking and all of that stuff. I'm cool with it. I mean, Congress pay people to actually hack.
well, they
So
say
why
when people hack, they give them jobs because they
not in
obviously
the
are pretty
hood?
good.
Not in the hood.
They don't.
You get
They
expelled.
you don't go. You don't get a job afterwards.
Not in the hood.
No, I have a wife. I have a wife friend that hacked, and he got expelled the same way, but he also got offered a job.
Okay, you said a white friend.
Mm-hmm.
Your
And the
black friend going to
reason
jail.
why I'm saying that is, well, that's why I asked expelled or going to jail, because that's pretty normal. They do expel them, because he got expelled. Is why I brought that up.
Well, see,
But
our kids don't know to go. Well, a lot of them don't know that there are lucrative jobs in hacking or whatever. I guess it goes back to what you're saying with the limited knowledge, because I would tell them, it's like the stuff that y'all doing, people are getting paid buku money to do, you know? So, I mean,
that
they
they
was able to come.
naturally doing. Well,
Huh?
I said that they're naturally doing. I seen a Facebook post today. I guess you see that. What was she? A slide grant. Lady just made history today in the Olympics.
Was
Let
it
me
Aaron
see.
Jackson?
I think that was the lady speed skater or something like that.
Yeah, yeah,
And even Wavetta Granger, she posted, I'm a firm believer that when we are exposed to different things, it becomes possible to achieve it. And I agree.
yep,
I think most of the thing is a lack of exposure, but once we're exposed to it, we take it. So I can see why they hid books from us and stuff like that,
right,
because oh no, they gonna go ahead of us. They gonna teach themselves. No, But overall, we're here now. Books are no longer hidden from us. Like you said earlier, we have the World Wide Web. But what's missing is the passionate educators that used to be that was pushing and drilling the stuff in
right.
us. That's not doing that no more. And that's honestly, let's be honest, white and black teachers have been lacking on that. And it could be because of the kids' behavior or whatever the case may be. But yet it's still that need is there and the lack of exposure is there. How you fix that? Social media could be an option, but again, you got to have some kind of trail, just like Hansel and Gretel. They left their little pebbles everywhere. That's how they was able to find their way back. um you gotta give them some kind of guidance is to go look for that stuff. Yeah, you got a device, you got this access, but what are you looking, what are you searching? My girlfriend drama, what's going on with her and her boyfriend, stupid stuff.
Right.
And then the whatever's on the TVs, which I don't turn on that thing for nothing to save my life, because it's all trash. I turned it off a long time ago, but they're still embracing it. And not only that, but the social media trash. I mean, trash is everywhere. They can find more trash than something, useful for real. And with that being in abundance, especially is stuff that's driven for our culture trash that makes it so they're a target for this
Right.
trash to receive this trash. And there has to be something to help offset it. I was listening to some 70s music yesterday. Actually, the majority of the day I just had 70s music playing. And I was like, boy, there's some good music. And I'm just like, what happened? You know, um, it's we and then the kids, I tell them they stuff trash and they say we different. We different. And then you gotta respect they're different, but morals and values are not there in place no more. That's the one thing we have. We and I'm saying our generation, we kind of moved off from stuff and did things maybe when heads were turned, but there was morals and values instilled in us that I don't see the kids having that they should have. Not that they don't want it, just it never got deposited there to know any
Right.
different. You can't identify what's missing if you don't know what is
Was missing.
missing.
Right.
And so that's a sad thing, and I hate that pandemic has pushed a problem that was already in existence and made it worse.
Hmm.
And we already know that's just like anything so far in this country because we don't have equality. But I just feel like I feel like I'm just scrambling all the time. Like, well, how do we get it? Well, why are we whining? Are we whining? Are we complaining all the time? Because that's what people always will say. Like, okay, well, what else do you want?
Right.
Something that feels right. Like,
Hmm.
I still have yet to say it feels right. And I guess when we able to just all treat each other like human beings and get the quality that we all deserve, especially for education, and I don't know how we gonna fix the public school education system because, like I said, I done seen it behind the scenes of one here, and then I went all down south, and it's the same thing. So I know it's a system because there's no
Yeah.
way that all the way up here 850 miles away got the same issues it's that, and it's a whole different culture and a whole just don't make sense. you know. And then now that I'm saying it, I'm thinking about it's legislated. I hear you say that
Yep.
all the time. But if it's legislated, how do we take that same legislation and make it work for it in the opposite way? Is
Torch,
what I'm
torch the legislation.
torch it or challenge it, put some amendments to it,
Just torch
something.
it. Just torch it.
They're not gonna let us torch it because I mean, if truth be told, I'd love to take that U.S. Constitution down and write it for all instead of just some. You know,
True.
but overall, I'm one person, you one person. I don't see the millions coming together to say, "Oh, we want to do this." Hell, we couldn't even get people to stay on their knees. Everybody watching the Super Bowl now. So they still haven't completely rectified the situation. So
Right.
people get on board a little while, and then they like, "Oh, I gotta get my stuff, gotta get my coffee back, and my, you know." Everybody got their wings and rotel. Everybody having their best life while we doing this show. You know that, right?
Yeah,
There's Super
good.
Bowl parties everywhere. I'm gonna find me some food too after the show. But no, I'm just joking. But overall, there is work to do. We have problems, we have issues. And I really think we should really consider exploring what it would take to start up a private school, since both of us are so passionate in education, and just see, like, I've seen others start them. I just, like I said, the only thing
Right.
that I didn't know, that they didn't need all that certification you need when you're going into those schools.
No.
And see, I didn't know that part. But I've seen people start schools out of their churches and everything, and continue on and been successful. And I'm talking about Black people. And then people catch on, a couple teachers put their kids in, a couple nurses put their kids in, people that got, decent jobs that can, pay somewhat of a tuition, put them in.
Right.
But I want to also see the ones who can't pay tuition. that's that and that's the lack too, and that's why I say, if these kids are entitled to a private education and them funds are allocated to them for that private education and they're not receiving it, I feel like they should have a choice. I feel like
Right.
they should have a choice to be able, and until we get legislation put in place to say that, because we already got all the statistics and all the information to show how some of these schools do not work for these kids, and all they do is send down the school to prison pipeline, and that's real. And to offset that pipeline, we would need to get those kids out of those schools into another environment that they can be productive in. Is
Now that I agree.
Yeah, and that's what I see. But like I said, we're only two people, but if we can get some other people, we can do it. And like I said, we can't change the world. I know we can't change the world, but at least try to change a few.
Mm-hmm.
Something's better than nothing. Like I said, nothing beats a failure but a try. And so I'm already pointing the target. We're about 1 minute from the end of the show, but let's I want to pinpoint and see what kind of legislation that we can help influence, get with our legislate, like literally. And I don't know, because I'm all out of touch in Belleville, but find out who the legislator is and just have this same conversation with them is what I want to do in the next couple of weeks and see what happens. So anyway, y'all, this is the end of the show. We got about 30 seconds left. I'm going to say good night. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in after Super Bowl, whenever you do decide to tune in. Thank you. Enjoy the night. Marty?
Yes. You went frozen on me.
You gonna tell everyone bye?
Oh, bye, everyone. I'm sorry I went frozen.
And next time she'll probably show her face, guys. So she's not showing her face. She's
No, I
not being
won't.
fair. Marty does what she wants. If you know Marty, she's gonna do what she wants. All right, guys, we out of here. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.